name is Shamika Smith, and I serve as the Executive Director and founder of the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy. We're on a mission of ending fatherless generations by preparing males for empowerment, entrepreneurship, enrollment, enlistment, and employment. As we continue on our veins of empowerment, we will be launching our virtual Saturday enrichment sessions starting Saturday, September the 11th, 2020 at 9 a.m. For more information, visit our website at www.brotherhoodofexcellenceacademy.org. What your son or your grandson or your nephew will be hearing is individuals, particularly males, that have lived experiences of what it means to be a male in our current society. Many are shared of their personal experiences, of their journey from boyhood into manhood. And so we hope that you will come and join us starting. It'll be a monthly broadcast starting on September the 11th, 2021 at 9 a.m. To learn more about the virtual Saturday enrichment sessions, please visit our website at www.brotherhoodofexcellenceacademy.org. We look forward to sharing this time together starting at 9 a.m. Take care. Well, hello, my name is Shamika Smith, and I serve as the Executive Director and founder of the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy. We're on a mission of ending fatherless generations by preparing males for entrepreneurship, empowerment, enrollment, enlistment, and employment. Under the umbrella of empowerment, we have launched our broadcast, Teaching Boys and Raising Sons. Just a second, let me pull that up. Teaching Boys and Raising Sons. And so I am truly excited to have with us on this day, LeJuan Walker. So welcome to the broadcast, LeJuan.
Hey, thank you very kindly for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
I'm glad to have you. So Mr. Walker is going to tell us a little bit about himself, a little about his background, and then we'll get started on our topic today, which is what is manhood? What is manhood? Take it away, LeJuan.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. So I am LeJuan Walker. I am a native of Tallahassee, Florida. I've resided in North Carolina for the past almost 14 years. And during that time period, I worked primarily with the youth. I began primarily in the mental health field for about 7 years, residential supervisor, day treatment, intensive in-home, community support. I transitioned from there to work within the school system. With communities in school as a graduation coach. I am currently an educator or teacher at Rocky Mount Middle School, where I teach social studies. So again, all of my graduation from high school has been more of with the youth.
Excellent, excellent. So can you tell us, or how do you actually define manhood?
That's such a beautiful question, and it's one that can seem to sometimes vary depending on who you ask. But as I understand it, manhood is defined as being able to protect, provide, and produce. Now, to elaborate somewhat on those, providing, we often have the mentality that it's all about finances. But sometimes I ask the question is, would you rather have your parent, or primarily speaking of fathers, there to be at your graduation or to give you money? Money is important and economics is important. That's not to take it away from it. But the reality of the situation is being able to provide support, being able to provide a place of security in a sense of love, of a place where someone can actually give you some insight of what life is about. Producing. And the example I give sometimes is like a manufacturer. So you have a car and you have all the parts that actually produce the car itself. So my favorite quote of all time is James Baldwin: "For these are all our children, we will either profit from or pay for whatever they become." So in that production piece, being able to provide and produce quality young men.
I love that. I love, make sure I got it. Protect, provide, and also produce.
Yes, ma'am.
I love that. I love that. So can you tell us roughly 3 to 5 characteristics of what it means to be a man? So I love the overview, but can you kind of, some of our audience members comes from various backgrounds. So what are like 3 to 5 characteristics of being a man?
Loyalty, of course, and loyalty has a way of being impeccable in your word. Loyal to what you say and what you do. So loyalty is primarily a very important one. Responsibility, and I know that can go male and female, but men are often judged by how responsible they are or the lack of responsibility that they provide, and just being willing, in a sense, to a sense of vulnerability. I know you don't associate that with manhood, but that's one of those characteristics that we don't oftentimes get to express and show. It's the human nature of us that we don't often have. So I would say those three fit within characteristics of manhood.
I love it. The vulnerability, the responsibility, and the loyalty.
That's correct. Yes, yes, that's correct. Yes, yes.
So, based on your background, as you go about coaching young boys, let's look at a couple of areas. So, if we're looking at coaching young boys in the area of mental development, can you tell us some things of how you've been able to coach young boys in that area?
It's confidence, so having them, in a sense, to believe in themselves, and more importantly, giving them a platform to kind of speak to what they're thinking mentally. So just providing them with the belief within themselves and to let them know that they're unique. And I think the mental aspect, because everything starts mental. What you think mentally manifests itself physically. So once you have your mental idea of who you are and what you can provide, it produces itself through the physical form. So yeah, a lot of mental and working in the mental health field, it was really, in a sense, trying to get young males to rethink how they have been taught or how they have been programmed to think. So it's a lot of reprogramming, but that reprogramming, in a sense, just to get them to have a belief in themselves.
I love that. So once you deal with the mental piece, I heard you talk about physical. So what are some things, how do you prepare them from a physical perspective?
Well, this day and age, the new thing is self-care, so the self-care part, eating right, exercising, and I don't mean to be so typical, but these are common things that, in this day and age with the teenagers, and I don't like to speak generationally, but I have to speak to what it is. In my generation and generations prior to that, we were always outside. The concept of come home before the street lights come on, and I remember just kind of coming home from school and getting out of my quote unquote school clothes and school shoes, to put on my play clothes and play shoes. With this generation nowadays, it's more of video games. And what's so different is the video games are mostly played virtually. I used to actually have to go to a friend's house and play the video game. So again, I'm speaking of the physical in a sense of activity, in improving your overall body, just in general, knowing what you're putting in your body, knowing and understanding. I'm a former athlete, and that's very hard to say former. But being a former athlete, the thing I had to understand is my body. So the best example that I can give for myself and for you, Ms. Smith, as a woman, a perfume might smell good on you, but it might not smell good on the other person. So what works for my body, it might not work well for your body. So again, knowing what fits best for you. And some people have, different hereditary diseases or situations, diabetics, so your outline of what you eat has to be attributed to what your body type is. So just really, in terms of the physical, knowing your body is the best advice that I give to all males. And once you know what works for your body, again, going back to the cologne piece, once you know what cologne fits you, hey, you can wear that comfortably, but it might not smell good on you because it smells good on me, but it's what works for your body.
I love that. So knowing your body is going to be critical and key as young men begin to develop accordingly.
Absolutely.
serve as the Executive Director and founder of the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy. And I have invited our board members to come and share with you why they choose to be a board member. So this is Sharon Thomas, and she serves as our board chair. Now, let me tell you, she has been here since 2018 when we first met in August of 2018. I was actually at a hotel, and I was like, okay, we're going to do this. And so I've asked my board members to each share why they've chosen to be a board member with the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy. Tell us about it, Sharon.
Thank you, Shamika. So I am a board member of the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy because I believe in the vision. I believe in the vision of seeing every male discover and fulfill their authentic destiny. There's something about that word authentic that hits me in the gut, and discovering the place they belong. I'm all in when it comes down to intentionally finding that out authentically. So I believe this organization is also an answer to prayers that were prayed concerning the end of fatherless generations. And I loved that, especially when you shared with me initially why you were birthing this organization. And so God raised you up, Shamika, the founder, and you gave birth to this organization that provides an answer for our young men and their legacies, what's to come after them. So I wholeheartedly loved it. And I was like, I'm in.
Thank you, Sharon, so much for sharing. Using that same concept, what about that emotional development?
You know, that out of all things, that is the most underrated, underattended, underappreciated aspect of manhood, because in actuality, we're not taught to embrace our emotions. It's almost the most human characteristics that we have. I'm a music person, and there's a song where it's called Emotions, and the guy goes through the song saying, you know, emotions make you cry sometimes, it makes you sad. But the one example that he used that I always like to use is when we're born, one of the first things that the doctor does to ensure your child is somewhat healthy is to see if the child can cry. But as we get older as males, the whole concept of being emotional and expressing ourselves, you know, there's a saying that I hear students say, are you in your feelings? You know, it's okay to be in your feelings. It's the most human aspect of all people. It actually humanizes you, because if you were not in your feelings, then you would not be considered and very insensitive of other people. So I think that's one of those, because sometimes we focus so much on the physical, you know, that we forget about the emotional, because men have feelings too, you know, and that puts me in my feelings saying that, but you know, we have feelings too. So the emotional piece, and anytime I'm working with young males, I try to get them to honor how they feel and what they think. And by honoring how you feel and what you think, you get a better understanding of yourself emotionally. And that transfers oftentimes to, because men haven't been taught to embrace their emotions, we do things aggressive. We punch holes in walls, we kick stuff, we curse, you know, we storm out. We do all of these things as opposed to just actually talking about it or acknowledging that we have feelings. So like I said, I elaborated quite a bit on that one, but that is the piece of manhood that we just don't really address, because it seems as if, like, if you have feelings, then you are less of a man. And, you know, one thing a man doesn't want to be is, I'm not a punk. You know, it's not about that. You know, it's just about, again, being human. And I just think we're robbed of that because we don't have programs like Brotherhood Academy that can kind of teach those aspects of manhood again. And just, you know, kudos to you for what you're doing, because it's a missing gap and it's needed. You know, I am an understanding of myself, of learning about manhood as I go along, instead of having that, you know, as I matured as a young man. So emotion that's huge. That's huge. And I'm just a big proponent of trying to get males to go there, to go to that place and be okay with it, you know. So
Yeah, it is a big challenge, particularly if you've grown up in environments where there's this understanding that because you are a male child, you are not to be able to express your thoughts or express your emotions, or that whole sit down and be quiet, or make sure you stop crying, or men don't cry, that kind of thing. And unfortunately, a lot of males will internalize that concept and say, I can't be emotional, I gotta do X, Y, and Z. And then when you're now talking about a future spousal relationship where there is a desire to hear emotions and to be vulnerable, there are some men that may struggle with that.
I want to kind of go along what you said, just give a personal example. So when I was in college, I had a roommate, still my friend to the day. I was, part of his wedding. And every night when we used to go to bed, he'll say, in terms of abbreviating my name, LeJuan, hey, Juan, hey, what's up, man? I love you. Hey, man, go to bed. It's because I wasn't used to, and oddly enough, I wasn't used to another man telling me he loves me. So who does that? Like, I'm not soft. Don't tell me you love me. So it took, fast forward, moving to North Carolina. I'm about 25 at the time, and I'm riding with my uncle and his best friend, and I'm in the back seat. So my uncle gets out of the car and he says, hey, man, I love you. And his best friend said, I love you too. Like, that's okay. Men can say they love each other, but again, I didn't experience that in a sense, men saying that. And, it might be in a brotherhood way. Okay, man, that's what's up, but it's never actually expressly said. So from that point, it took me to see it as an example. And I just recently on my, college roommate's birthday, I called him and told him how I appreciated him for doing that. Like, he made it comfortable in a sense to that it was okay. And it took me to 19 to, like I say, actually have a man express that he loves me, and it not make me feel, or him to feel, actually, because he was the one who was saying it, feel less of a man. So again, that's kind of still tying back into that emotion piece. It's okay to tell another man you love him and not be looked at in a judgmental way, so.
Absolutely. So piggybacking on the concept of love, what about spiritual development, particularly of young boys? What are your thoughts on that?
The most direct and very simple way is know thyself. By knowing you, kind of to some degree with the cologne, to what religion works best for you, to what practices that best enhance your spirituality. Just really the old African adage of know thyself. So the more you know who you are, the more in tune, or how to get in tune with yourself spiritually. So again, just having an understanding of yourself, which is a consciousness. And from that consciousness, it develops itself into the action of spirituality in a sense. And I think, again, just knowing who you are, and even for myself personally, the more that I fell in love with LeJuan and got to know who LeJuan is, I have a better understanding of myself spiritually and what works for me in terms of enhancing my spirituality. So just, again, the old African adage, know thyself, and the better and the more you know what works best for you.
I love that. Again, what you've talked about is being a well-rounded individual, whether it is in the mental development, the physical development, the spiritual development, and or the emotional development, recognizing who you are, what are your triggers, what are the things that may bother you, and then how do you respond to those things? Do you respond from an emotional perspective? Have you recognized it's okay to be emotional? Do you understand from a spiritual perspective who you are? Are you physically prepared and physically fit? And then also making sure that you have a different understanding of your mental capacities as well. So let me turn. My name is Shamika Smith, and I serve as the Executive Director and founder of the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy. And I've asked my board members to come and share why they choose to be a board member with our organization. So this is Tanisha Campbell Cole, and she serves as our treasurer. So Tanisha, tell us why you chose to be a board member.
I chose to be a board member of the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy because I think this organization is absolutely amazing. It's necessary, it's needed. We don't have enough opportunities for our young men of color to be engaged and enriched and empowered. And as a mother of 3 sons, I just, learning about the organization, knowing the founder, Shamika, and all of the passion she has for this work, I said, sign me up. I want to be involved because I think we need to have people who are focusing their energies, efforts, skills on helping to enrich and empower young men of color. It's so necessary in society today. There's not enough of it. And I just think that this is an amazing organization. I'm ready for my sons to be involved in it from start to finish. And if that's how I feel, then I know that I want to be a part of it because I know that there will be great work done in this organization and it will be here for decades and decades and decades to come. We are just getting started. And I'm just so excited that there's a platform for us to engage in this discussion around ending fatherless generations.
Thank you so much, Tanisha. Thank you so much. And again, I remember Tanisha and I used to work together at Full Disclosure. And I remember I was in her office and I said, would you consider just kind of let me know, no pressure, just kind of let me know. And she has done a phenomenal job and really helping me with my area of weakness. And so I do appreciate that. And thank you so much for being part of the board.
Absolutely, Shamika. And I remember that day too. And you were like, would I consider? So when can I start? It's been a wonderful journey from the start. And I feel privileged to be a part of this organization and be a part of this group of change makers. I feel like we are making a big change and will be continuing to make a change in the lives of young men and giving them an avenue to really explore themselves and feel confident in who they are as people, but then also give them the opportunity to have models to see what they can be. So it's a privilege. It's an absolute privilege. I'm happy to be here. I'll be here as long as you will keep me.
All right. Thank you, Tanisha. So let me turn the corner a little bit in terms of, because you are an educator, what are some strategies that educators can do to develop self-esteem for African-American boys? And I use the term self-esteem, given that we're in a world where it's very much still dealing with a lot of social unrest. So what are some things that educators can do to really develop that self-esteem in our African-American boys?
Beautiful question and such a much needed conversation. As we know, African-American boys struggle the most academically within the school system. And it's not that they are not capable, but it's a misunderstanding of who they are. So number one, I think we can recognize that African-American males are not white males. And I must elaborate on that in the sense that there's a different history, there's a different psychology, and there's a different type of pressure. So we have to be honest about what Black males face in this society. And until we can actually be honest about that, we will continuously fool ourselves to expect the same expectations that you expect from other men. And I'm never the one to point the finger and just always look at society, because we play a role too. But the reality of the situation is we are plugged into a society that is not advantageous to our growth. And because of that, we struggle with many situations that leads us to having problematic situations. So for one, again, understanding and recognizing that Black males are not, they're unique in a sense of within this society. Number two, and this is very important, recognizing that we are not who we are perceived to be. Very, very important, because if you check any 6 o'clock news, 5 o'clock news, I was riding to work the other day, and it just hurt my heart to see one of those billboards that kind of changes. and I saw a black male posted on there wanted, like, so to be programmed to constantly see those images, whether we're talking about here in America or in Africa and other countries, people have this perception of black men that we're thugs, we're gangsters. And the most unfortunate thing about this, Ms. Smith, is we believe it ourselves, and that's challenging, because then it becomes a point where other black men might not trust me because of how they are perceived by society. So I remember once I was walking in a bank, and again, I literally dressed how I dress now outside of school. I'm a casual shoe type person, jeans fit, I don't sag, collared shirt, whatever it may be. And this woman, when I came into the bank, she said that, and I wasn't a member of the bank, so I would be charged $5 or $6 for cashing my check, because that's where the company banked at. So she, in her own mouth, told me that she was not going to charge me because she thought that I was going to rob the bank. And I'm in disbelief. Like, but again, I'm dark skinned, I have locks. So I fit the image physically, I guess, but not even hearing me speak or knowing anything about me. It's the perception. So we really, really have to understand that black men are not who they are perceived to be. And number 3, we just got to be patient, be patient with the growth, be patient with the process, and invest in the betterment of black men. So it's just the patience, because we cannot neglect 500 plus years of the assault, and the continuation of the assault. Oftentimes, and I don't mean to be political, but we look at the George Floyd situation, the Trayvon Martin, but many people, I think, are ahistorical, because, and even though we know about Emmett Till, but that predates. Emmett Till predates, all of those things with the lynching. It was a period in African American history called the nadir, pretty much right after slavery, from about 1890 to 1920s, where it was the lowest point in black life. Black men were being lynched. And in these lynchings, as we see George Floyd as a public execution, this is not new. I mean, and I don't mean to, seem like I'm laughing about it, but we are surprised at the treatment of how we've always been treated. One of the main reasons that you don't see a Native American is because the men were attacked first, and the men are the protectors, going back to what you asked me about manhood. So just understanding that we must be patient with black men and black males because of the things that they go through, and we are under attack, and we have to be honest about that. Like, we can't run away from what we know to be the truth. All of the statistics point to that. In Wake County, the FBI opened up a federal inquiry in 2005, in a sense, because black males were disciplined harsher than other students based off for the same consequences, for the same. And the sad thing about it is that phrase, school to prison pipeline, because you find the same exact examples in prison, the same consequences, that the same thing that black men do and other men do, they get harsher sentences. So, and you see it in the school system. In Wake County, I think they closed it. They plan to close the case in 2021 or 2020, maybe it was last year. But the reality of it is, Wake County had to make changes. So that inquiry was substantiated. So we have to be patient, because again, 500 years of oppression and thinking that we're going to change overnight, that's not realistic. And being a people, or a protector of a people who've never gone back to mental health, never got therapy for this, and still not getting therapy for this, because all of these things have been internalized. So I elaborated on that quite a few, but that's just the reality of the situation. We have to be patient. It requires that.
And you did fine. You did fine. Let me also because the reality is that there are still levels of trauma that are being experienced, and however males decide to release that trauma, whether it is through, unfortunately, other negative behaviors, is not contributing to the betterment of society nor of our culture as well. And so, yes, 400, 500 years, and then now all of a sudden we have this ideology that we're going to uproot it overnight. There's nothing that's going to be uprooted overnight. We're going to start with conversations and be okay with having another conversation and recognizing, as you stated earlier, where you are as an individual. And then what are the steps you need to do to move forward? And also appreciating what's happening in the past, whether positive or negatively.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And just again, being recognizing of that past, present, and future, bringing all three together and just moving forward with that, not neglecting anyone, knowing where you have been, knowing what you've overcame, and knowing where you want to go, and all of those stages require sincere patience with the process. And that's, if there's a word to fit, be patient with the process.
I love it. Well, thank you, Mr. Walker, so much for spending a little bit of your time with us on today. And I serve as the Executive Director and founder of the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy. And I've asked my board members to actually come and tell us why they have chosen to be a board member with the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy. So this is Tamala Anderson, and she serves as our secretary. So Tamala, why did you choose to be a board member?
Thank you, Shamika. I want to say that it's a cliche, but I believe that it does take a village to raise our children, culturally speaking, and just wisdom, the wisdom behind having a group of people that care about your children in on the experiences they have, their education. And so I wanted to be a part of the brick and mortar of a foundation. So when I was asked, it was very prayerful for me because I wanted to make sure I could commit to it. If you know Shamika, that is excellence and commitment. As long as I've known her for probably 20 years now, excellence and commitment. And I wanted to be able to step up to the task, to be able to be an asset to this organization. And I want to share just my son who recently graduated, who was raised in a program similar to this, and he has his own personal quote. It's and it says, "Live a legacy, leave a legacy," and that essentially is what I want to do. I want to, even if this program goes on beyond me, and that's what I want to be a part of. Something that continues on beyond me, that where I can help leave a legacy. So thank you again for asking me. I'm honored to serve in a capacity that I am growing in every board meeting. So it's been a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamala. I remember what I asked her, she said to me, I'm going to pray about it. And what she didn't know is a whole lot of folks told me that. So I said, well, amen. Praise the Lord. And when she came back and she said, okay, I'm ready, I thought, oh, she actually prayed about it. I am forever. I love meeting with you on the Sundays before our board meetings. Everything is good, and it's been a blessing and really an honor to serve along with you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. As you know, we are a 501c3 organization with a vision that every male will discover and fulfill their authentic destiny. We're on a mission of ending fatherless generations by preparing males for empowerment, entrepreneurship, enrollment, enlistment, and employment. We do have core values, and I typically tell my board of directors our core values is juices with an A. Juices with an A. So it is joy and unity and integrity, communication, excellence, servanthood, and accountability. I have the awesome privilege of serving under this leadership team who represents our founding board of directors. And so we're always in the process of looking for other individuals who would like to serve on our board. So please visit our website to learn more about how you can fill out an application to be a part of our board of directors. Hello, my name is Shamika Smith, and I hope that you have had the opportunity to enjoy our broadcast. I hope that you walked away with nuggets of wisdom, leadership components, and things that you could implement, whether it be in your family or whether it be in your learning environment or your teaching environment or whatever the case may be. Our hope and our prayer is that you walked away with something that is very tangible that you can use immediately. If you have enjoyed this broadcast, take a moment and share it with others so that we can continue to spread the word of how we are utilizing the component of empowerment through our broadcast, teaching boys and raising sons, so that others can be empowered as we all walk in this thing called life together. Also, if you are looking to donate to an organization, please consider us. We are a 501c3 organization, and so all donations are tax deductible. Once again, if you are looking for an opportunity to give in order for us to continue this broadcast, visit our website, also listed below, but also take a moment to just donate or share or let individuals know of the great work that we're doing under our broadcast, teaching boys and raising sons. We are so honored and privileged that you have taken time out of your day. We know we are all busy. And we are so excited that you have taken time out of your day to come and learn a leadership nugget, a word of wisdom, or something that we hope that will encourage you on your journey. Once again, I am Shamika Smith. I serve as the Executive Director and founder of the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy. Again, visit our website located at the bottom of your screen, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.